Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. So today I wanted to give a little bit of feedback on the Endless Heist event, which I think is a great idea that has been badly executed. And when I say badly executed, I think that there's just a couple of fundamental flaws with it that should have been picked up through playtesting, and if they'd been picked up, then the event would have just gone off as a much more popular thing than it's been. Obviously, some people just flat out don't like Heist. They're not going to like it no matter what happens. Those people shouldn't play the event. Some of them have been suckered into playing the event by the level 50 mystery box. Those people have made a mistake, and they would have made a mistake even if the event was run well, because they weren't going to have fun. And, you know, even if it took only 4 hours to get to level 50, 4 hours of doing something you don't like for a mystery box is a terrible deal. But let's talk about the people who either like Heist like I do or are neutral to it. Generally speaking, we're finding that progression in this event is at a glacial pace. You'll see me here. I am position 42 on the hardcore ladder for the duelist class. So I've filtered this to show only duelists. And if you consider only slayers, I'm in 7th position. I have not put up a 7th position for an ascendancy level performance at all. I've been messing around, I've been taking it easy. I've had a lot, I've not played anywhere near as much as you would normally expect if you wanted to be in the top 10 for an ascendancy, even if you wanted to be in the top 50. However, there's a number of factors that are making things slow. Firstly, I am playing hardcore trade enabled, and that is probably the least competitive of the four different game options that are available. And secondly, I am deliberately playing an off-meta ascendancy because, you know, this is an event that is a chance to experience a build that I haven't played before. I haven't played a Slayer since they were good, I think back in like 3.7 or so. So it's been a long time since I've played a Slayer. I just wanted to try it out, see what it feels like now. And I wanted to play Frostblades, a skill I've never played with before. So I'm just sort of winging it as I go, figuring out things. Definitely not something that should be putting me into position 7 for an ascendancy. But what's been happening is that progression is extremely slow, and it's leading a lot of people to give up. So let's have a look at why that is and have a quick look at some of the statistics. So first thing I want to do is call up the stats of an Oriath Enforcer. This is a bit of a control. This is a monster from the core game, a monster you would have fought many a time as you progress through Act 5, and you'll fight them in the slave pens among other locations. All you need to notice in this stats, these are all the stats from over on POE, but all that really matters, life 115%, experience 100%. And keep those numbers in your mind. That's a monster from the core game. Let's have a look at some monsters from Heist. Laboratomaton, life 200%, experience 100%. Well, that's a little bit worse, isn't it? Necroscientist, life 275%, experience 110%. A little bit more XP, a lot more time spent killing. Clattering Experiment, life 325%, experience 130%. And Senior Heretic, life 560%, experience 140%. So what we're seeing here is a situation where monster hit points are scaled very, very high in Heist. Now this doesn't normally matter because by the time you actually start running Heist content at endgame, you usually have a pretty powerful character running, and you're actually able to punch through these things. This is why XP in Heist at endgame is so good. It's because, you know, yeah, this Senior Heretic might have 560% life, but if you can still one-shot it, then you're getting 140% XP. And also Heist just floods the screen with monsters. There's so many monsters in one place that it's crazy. And as a result, you do end up getting a lot more XP from Heist than you do from maps, at least with an equal level of investment. Leave aside at the very top end of investment, you can't do that in Heist. You run out of additional sources of investment. I do think it's worth saying that in the core game, XP in Heist is fine. In fact, it's pretty good. But in low-level play, what we're seeing is a situation where this monster hit point buffer that exists is causing our players to kill monsters more slowly than they otherwise would be killed. And we're also staying in lower tier content longer to avoid being overwhelmed. Now, I'm playing in hardcore, which is unusual for me. So not only am I playing more conservatively than usual because it's hardcore, I'm also playing even more conservatively because I'm inexperienced with hardcore. And so that means that I am definitely feeling this slowdown even more. And I'm fine with that. Like, I signed up for that when I chose to play hardcore. But for people who are playing in the softcore versions of the event, they haven't signed up for that. And this monster hit point buffer is causing them to progress through at a glacial pace. Additionally, you've got map mods coming into play. Now, map mods are a factor in this because we don't get very many scouring orbs in this event, and every single contract that drops seems to drop magic or rare. So, map mods actually reduce XP per hour early on. Mods that add, say, 18% density mean that the entirety of the heist, if you clear the entirety of the heist, you'll get 18% more XP. But you're going to have to do things more slowly and carefully, at least early on in progression. And so this is going to mean that you're going to be staying 2 tiers lower or so, which is, of course, going to increase the amount of time it's going to take to level, because XP, like monster XP scales a lot with monster level early on. But additionally, you're going to be spending longer in each heist because the map mods just cause you to have to be more careful. Of course, if you're playing in hardcore, it means you may simply not do some of them. But if you're playing in softcore, even then, you're going to be spending longer in there because, you've got to mitigate freezes. You may not be able to engage a big pack of monsters because your anti-freeze flask is completely drained. So all of these factors are playing up in the heist event and causing people to dislike it. People, not just the people who were always going to dislike the event because they just don't like heist, it doesn't gel with them for whatever reason, but also the people who, like me, genuinely enjoy heist. The things that I think should have been done differently, and I don't think it's too late to change these now. I think that in lower tier heist content, there should be a debuff on monsters that reduces their hit points in the heist event. This should be exclusive to the heist event. It should taper off maybe at character level 55 or character level 57 or 58 or something. So no, actually not character level, make that monster level 55, 56, 57, something like that. Start making it disappear there. But I think that monsters should have perhaps 55 to 60% less hit points than they do in heist at the moment from in the very low levels. And then this amount should decrease. Maybe just make it as simple as minus 55% at monster level 1, minus 45% at monster level 11, minus 35% at monster level 21, and so on and so forth until you get to level 56 and then you're back to full. That would solve all of the problems that people are having, and I think would make the event more fun. I do think that this event, it has the potential to be great in the future, but it's also missing a few things. The other thing that it's missing is that rogue gear really needs to drop earlier. It doesn't necessarily need to be every single slot, but I think we should at least get brooches and job-specific tools from low level. These things are essential in order to get doors faster, because as your character gets more powerful in heist, the thing that starts slowing you down is waiting at the doors. It's fine while you're still fighting at the doors, but once you get powerful enough that you're not fighting at the doors, then the doors become a drag. Lastly, something that should have been fixed years ago, whenever you are at a door and there are absolutely no monsters aggroed upon your rogue, at that point, the rogue's job should be almost instantaneous. Anyways, that's my feedback at the moment. I'm still going to continue playing the event because partly I'm having fun at the moment, but partly I see the potential for it to get better when I get to higher level. I'm not sure if I'll restart if and when I die, but that's part of the decision in hardcore anyway. I'd like to see this event run again in the future, but only if these issues are fixed. That's all I've got. May your Valobs have interesting results.